Hi guys, so welcome back to the channel. It's really nice to have you here. We're currently in the town of Tumut. So Tumut is in the Snowy Mountains area, and in front of us here is the Tumut River, which comes down from Blowering Dam, which I'll be showing you in another episode. But this seemed like a perfect place to start our river series. So let's get started exploring the town of Tumut, and stay tuned for all the other episodes we have coming up. Welcome back to the channel. So it's a new year, some new adventures as we explore more of Australia in our 1985 Windsor Pop Top Caravan with Dougie the dog, who enjoys all of his travel adventures. We'll be showing you more amazing sights, some more great free campsites during this year. So stay tuned to the channel. Thank you to all my subscribers, and I look forward to showing you more amazing sights around Australia. So annoyingly, Dougie's water bottle here leaked on the thing, so I've got to keep it standing up so it doesn't leak anymore. So this is our Tumut Heritage Walk, and it says start here in Richard Street. Okay, so where are we at the moment? Where's the visitor centre? So we're here. So we are down here at the visitor centre, and we need to find our way up to Richard Street. Well, there's Richard. What's this one here called? Simpson, Copper, Russell, Richmond. Okay, so guys, found the visitor centre here, and our Tumut Heritage Walk starts at number 1 if we do it in order, and number 1 is up here in Richmond Street. So we'll head off in a second and do a bit of an explore. In the background here is the old railway station. So we're going to start Tumut by exploring the railway station. So here we are at the old Hume and Batlow railway lines. So it's quite clear that they don't use these tracks anymore. This is more like one of those rail walking tracks these days, but Dougie's enjoying himself, and we're going to continue our walk. So this is the old butter factory in Tumut. So you can see the massive old boiler. This thing is huge. So Trevor Engineering of Melbourne constructed this. This thing is a massive, big boiler. I don't know how tall it is, but I can tell you it's probably 30 foot, I'm guessing, but it is just so high off the ground. And can you imagine working on this day in and day out? Okay, so the Heritage Walk was really interesting. Some amazing old towns. Unfortunately, I had a problem with the battery with the GoPro, but I discovered while we're at the Tourist Information Centre that there is a Tumut River walk. So having replaced the battery in the GoPro and headed down to the river, I'm going to have some lunch down here. We'll have a picnic. Dougie can have a look around, and then we're going to wander along the Heritage Walk and just explore this area of the Tumut River. So the Tumut River flows through the Snowy Mountains on the southwest slopes. Its origin is in the Toolong Range, and it starts on an elevation of 1,430 meters, and it travels from the Snowy Mountains approximately 182 kilometers before it joins into the Murrumbidgee River near Gundagai. And if you've seen one of my earlier episodes, we had a look at the Murrumbidgee River in Gundagai, and I can share the link at the end of this video for you. So after having a really good lunch and a lovely walk with Dougie and having a look at all the heritage sites, we did decide we would drop a few lines into the Tumut River in the hope that we could catch some wonderful trout for dinner. Sadly, no success in catching any trout, but then it was time to head on. So we're following the Tumut River up where it joins into the Goobarragandra River, and then we're going to be following the Goobarragandra River up to where we'll be staying at the Thomas Boyd Campsite, which I'll show you around that shortly. Right, okay, come on. So you can see there's heaps of space here for camping. You have big caravans here. You could probably park a bus or two here. Plenty of space for everyone. So there's a nice toilet block here. There's a little blue wren or lady wren. Well, that's something different, guys. A Tumut and Hume track brochures container. Oh, and there are brochures in here. I might grab one of these. There we go. So this is the one we've got. And if you'll note, Dougie's managed to keep himself tangled around the pole. Okay, well this is interesting. Right, so this is a Hume and Hovell walking track and we're at Thomas Boyd Campground. So this is, and it's the same information that we have seen when we were back at Coomber Cottage. For those who haven't seen that episode, you can catch it up on our channel. But yeah, it's pretty much got the same information. But this is a nice campground. Now, Thomas Boyd was one of the famous people on Hamilton Hume's expedition, but we don't hear a great deal about him. So he was actually a convict. He was actually assigned to John Kennedy Hume, which was a relative of Hamilton Hume. So this is the amenities block here at the Thomas Boyd Campground. Oh my goodness, it's cold. But we've got barbecues, we've got chairs and tables, very similar to what we had at Fitzpatrick's Trackhead in Wee Jasper. So quite a reasonable setting. And there's the toilet blocks over there. And it's quite pleasant. Now back to the caravan, it's too cold out here. There we go. Okay, so it's finally warmed up and we're going to take Dougie for a walk along the Hume and Hovell walking track, and we're just going to follow the Goobarragandra River along so I can show you a bit more of this beautiful river. We're going to head over and across the bridge. So it looks like 28.2 kilometres to the next campsite at Blowering Dam. The good news is we're only having a short walk. There's plenty of short walks on these Hume and Hovell walking track sections, and then we'll actually take the caravan round to our next campsite. I will have a look over the bridge. The thing I do like about this track is it's mostly pet friendly, so you can actually take your dog. I don't know whether I'd walk a cat along here, but each to their own. Certainly walking Dougie along here without any issues. Well, I'm not sure, guys, if you can hear the sound of the river in the background on my right hand side as we're walking along the track, but we're literally walking right along beside the Goobarragandra River as we're following the track down, and hopefully I'll find some good spots to show you a bit more of the river. I think originally there must have been a fence here, but most of it seems to have fallen down, but we'll step over it and we'll lift Dougie gently over it now. I will point out, because there is private land with sheep and stuff like that, if you are going to walk your pet along here, make sure, like Dougie, he's on a secure lead and you don't want them off chasing the sheep. That's not a good look. It's a shame about blackberries having got in here and gotten a bit invasive, but you see this across a lot of lot of national parks. So where the blackberries get in, you see a lot of these problems in national parks. There's some signs up everywhere that says don't eat, they've been poisoned. I have to admit, this walk is worth it just for the view of the river. Just look at that, that is just stunning, guys. Oh my goodness. So It looks like the hiking track's been inundated with wombat holes, so this could be a bit challenging getting around here. Oh, there we go. It's a good job there's a fence there to hold on to. Oh, let's keep walking, guys. It's lovely in the shade here. You can hear the road on the other side. So we're not far from the main road out to Goobarragandra. Well, it's time to head back because we need to get the caravan ready to move on, and I'm going to be travelling up the road towards Batlow, and we'll show you around that area. So we're back on the road again now, guys, and we're heading back into Tumut, because you have to go back into Tumut to head out to Batlow, because Goobarragandra River is on the opposite side of Tumut to Batlow, but we're going to head up to Batlow now and show you around. So I picked up this book at the Tourist Information Centre in Tumut yesterday, which is all about the Snowy Mountains Art Sculpture Trail. So we're going to check out some of this around Batlow and maybe more in later videos. But I'm just going to show you through this book so we can have a quick look as we're heading up the road to Batlow. Yes. Yep, definitely get to the snow stage. The truly Australian tradition, that's a giant apple. The giant apple of Batlow. And all the nets over the fruit. Hi guys, so today on our trip we're in the town of Batlow, so I'm going to be showing you around Batlow. It is the weekend, so not much is going to be open, if anything at all, but we're going to show you the sights of Batlow. Dougie's going to have a walk, and apparently there's some really interesting art on the art trail here, so we're going to go and have a look at that and see what we can see. Quite interesting. Some of the pioneering families of Batlow, famous for its olives, and we're the descendants of Thomas Boyd, who run the Hume and Hovell party. Now, Thomas Boyd was actually a convict, and his role was really important in the Hume and Hovell expedition in 1824, because he was the person who was the strongest swimmer and was able to make it across the Murrumbidgee River to get all their supplies and continue the journey through to Melbourne. So this is an interesting sign in the main street of Batlow. So it's all about the apple blossom festival that they had, and they used to have an apple blossom queen. Looks like it stopped in 1992. I'm not sure why it doesn't say here on the sign, but it shows an interesting history about how Batlow is very famous for its apples and the history behind that. They still have a festival here in October, and we might get back and check that out at another time. Now I'm looking at this grandstand here, and it's got Mountain Made, which was absolutely fabulous apples from apple pies and apple cider, but I don't think that they still make it here in Batlow. I don't think the factory's still open. We'll have to go and have a look. Okay guys, so this looks like the beginning of the art trail, and as usual I won't be showing you all the art on the art trail around Batlow. You guys will need to come and check it out, but let's get started and see what we can see. Well, this is a very different kind of art, but so it is called The Kiss. So We've seen the giant apple. Now here is the giant apple peel. Now it's all carved out of wood except for the actual peeling part, which is actually made out of metal. This is really cool. Let's see what else we can see. That's pretty cool. They joined the Women's Land Army from the Second World War. Now to come across here, I'm not really sure how you would describe that piece of artwork. I'm not really sure what it's meant to represent, and I haven't spotted a sign here that tells me what that's meant to represent. But it is interesting. So this is amazing in Batlow. So this is a massive mosaic in the park, and it's called the Zodiac Mosaic, and it is part of their art trail. This is really fascinating. There's a big apple in the middle, and it represents some amazing things, and it was built in 2009, and it's just part of their amazing trail. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video and sightseeing around the town of Batlow. As I said, I wasn't going to show you all the art in Batlow. One of the things I did notice that was interesting in Batlow is there was all of these yellow bikes up in lots of different locations. I'm not sure what they mean, but we might find out in some later episodes. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of our river series, and we're going to head on down now to Blowering Dam, and we'll show you that in a future episode. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Catch you next time.